bidding wars. Obviously, there's people that are not so happy with getting outbid. Just as a suggestion, I think having your clients prepared, not only for the bidding war, but, in terms of making themselves as attractive as possible as a buyer, especially early on, is probably the best suggestion today. Meaning, having their mortgage approval, not necessarily pre-approval, but an approval that maybe just leaves an appraisal to be done. That information can be presented to the selling agent. I think that goes a long way. Knowing what your clients can afford, meaning, if they are going to bid up, is that going to be an issue? Making sure you understand that and speaking with their mortgage professional. And then, some of the issues that are going to arise along the way in terms of inspections, trying to minimize what their expectations are. People are buying not necessarily new houses, so, limit the scope of what that inspection can be: structural, systemic, environmental, not to start nitpicking on things, because obviously there's a line of people that's behind your buyer, assuming they win the bid, and it's important that they don't nitpick, because sellers don't want that. There's a psychology behind it, right? They love their house. There's nothing wrong with their house. Their house is perfect. Obviously we know that's not the case, but at the same time, we want to make sure that, the buyer's expectations are managed. The other thing I would also tell you, and again, I'm just assuming, everybody's been in this business for a while and knows, but, build yourselves a team of professionals that can help your deals succeed. Obviously you guys can negotiate the deals, get the deals into contract, but you guys can't close the deals, and from that, I mean, from the inspectors, from the mortgage professionals, from the attorneys, those are the people that are going to help your deal succeed. And, you should always have that team of professionals ready to go, know that they can get the deals done. And, at the end of the day, you guys don't get paid until the deal closes. So the last thing you want to do is waste your time. Unfortunately that happens, but that's the nature of the beast. But what you really want to do is just make sure that your deal, the likelihood of the deal succeeding, is increased by the team of professionals you put around you. In the group chat, I put all my contact information. My cell phone is always the best place to reach me. Like I said, I'm very responsive. Even if I'm not on the deal and you guys have some questions, I've been in this game for 25 years. There's nothing that I haven't seen. So if you want to pick my brain, if you want to come up with ideas, game plan, strategy, what have you, I'm happy to help.
Would you suggest calling as the buyer's agent, calling the seller agent to kind of get a sense of what the seller's looking for in an ideal, buyer?
Listen, some agents may not necessarily disclose that. Some agents are strictly about business, and they're like, "Listen, just give me your, best and final offer."
Okay.
But
even having that information, what are they looking for, right?
Well, listen,
qualified,
but they may not disclose that.
Oh, got it.
Because they're doing a disservice to their client. Because if your client's going to offer, let's say, $20,000 more, but the agent tells you, you really only need to offer $5,000 more, that's not only hurting their client but also hurting their pocket, right?
Right. No, I'm not suggesting that, but something as far as like pre-qualified, they'll waive certain things as far as inspection.
Listen, I think that's just
something that would make them a strong candidate.
I think that's just making your presentation when you present your offer, whether that's in your transmittal information to the broker or what have you. Obviously, if there is a multiple bid situation, they're going to go over every single deal with their client. So the more information they have, the clarity of information they have, the better.
Got it.
Let them know that they don't have to sell anything in order to buy this thing. Anything that helps the close.
Yeah.
People today are trading, right? Some people are, selling something and buying something.
Right.
And most of them have to sell before they buy. So
right. So if you've got one that doesn't have to sell, might be a stronger candidate.
1,000%. Absolutely.
Got it.
The
Okay, thank you.
more information, the more clarity you can present with your offer, I think the greater likelihood of success.
Noted.
All right. Good question.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Felix.
My pleasure,
Thank you.
Chris. Good luck with the rest of your meeting, guys, and everyone. I hope everybody stays safe.
Great.
too.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
All right, take care.
All right, cool. So yeah, today's class is going to be command your consumer experience. So let me just go ahead and share my screen real quick, and we can get started here. And apologize for the echoing. I'm in a large auditorium right now. No, just kidding. But yeah. So I'm going to go into command, and what I'm going to be working with primarily today is the consumer applet here. I'm also going to go over the marketing profile aspect of command because I think that's super important to have done before you do any sort of consumer related function like the website or the consumer app branding. So I'm going to get started there, and then we're going to move into consumer. And then as I kind of move forward, you can feel free to stop me if you have questions. Yeah, let's get going here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my settings here. I'm going to click on my name, and I'm going to click on this cogwheel here. It's the settings. And what I'm going to do now is then go into connect settings and marketing profile. So this marketing profile that you fill out is going to be super useful because what it's going to do, it's going to essentially auto-populate your information into any of your marketing collateral. So whether you're putting together a campaign, like an email or a direct mailing piece, or you're sending out your consumer app to a client, or even your agent website, all that branding, all that information that you put into here is going to translate over into all that. So you'll even notice here right now, it's using my consumer, or it's using my information to brand my agent site. And that information is going to auto-populate automatically. Parole asked, is this in connect or command? We're in command right now. And this is also being recorded. So if you happen to want to rewatch this, I'm going to have it on YouTube later. It's also streaming on Facebook. But in any case, let's get started. So I'm under my marketing profile. Again, I'm in command. I'm under settings, and then I went to connect settings here. So this is where I can find that. Again, I'm just going to be, if you notice that I'm pausing at any point, it's usually because I'm letting somebody in or I'm looking at the chat box. So no worries. Again, I'm over in the settings menu here. I'm under connect settings, and I'm under marketing profile. So under marketing profile, this is where I can upload my headshot. If I have a team logo, I can also upload that. You can notice here that I have my contact information. Now, anything that's marked off with an asterisk, like a red asterisk, is what's necessary to continue. So you do need to have a headshot uploaded, or else it's not going to save. My main details, like my name, your agent license number, not required, but you can definitely pop that in there. I have my team name here. Now this I can understand being confusing for agents who aren't on a team because it's not necessarily, I guess it's not worded correctly. So this is basically, and I'll show you once we get into the agent site function. This is how it's going to be branded on my agent site. So basically I have it like this. And I usually would suggest something similar to that if you're not on a team, but I'm going to show you as we kind of move forward what exactly I'm talking about there. You do have a job title you can put in. You can also put in your designations or credentials. I know some agents have those. You'll notice here that I have a few sample ones that I've probably had done at some point. So these are some of the designations you can pop in there. Professional job title, that would be something like realtor associate, sales associate, broker associate, team leader, etc. Now, I do highly recommend adding in a bio. And the reason why I recommend that is because that bio is going to go into your consumer app and also your website. And it's also good to just have a little kind of blurb about yourself that if somebody wanted to read up about like what you've been doing or what you've been up to, it's good to have in there. So if you have a bio already written, You can just kind of copy and paste it. If you don't have one, I usually just suggest kind of putting maybe points of interest that you plan on covering, or even some of your prior experience that might relate to your real estate business. Okay, so we have just some of the basic phone numbers, emails. You have your brokerage or market center information as well. This I do get questions about as well, where you can find that market center logo. You can find that on KW Connect. And if you have trouble finding it, or if you need just me to send those over to you at some point, just let me know, shoot me an email, I can send you the logos. But you could find them under KW Connect, marketing, logos and branding. I know it's a little bit of a hike to get here. Logos and branding, I go to Market Center logos, and then I can go ahead and, you know, pop in whatever one I'm looking for. You know, if I'm looking for the Valley Realty one, or if I'm looking for Village Square. Any of the ones that you're looking for, you can just type in the name here, hit download, and it will give you a nice little zip folder with all the logos in it. What I suggest uploading here, definitely use the PNG one. That's going to be without the background, and it just it tends to look better on a lot of things. So just as a quick little tip there. I am just going to mute people just in case, because I'm getting some feedback here, so don't mind me. All right, so just to kind of move forward again, this is very straightforward. You fill it out, you save it at the bottom here, and then what's going to happen is when you start working on any of your marketing, such as the agent site or the consumer app, all that information is going to carry over to those respective items. Just make sure you're clicking this button on after you're done. All right, so one other thing I'll also mention, if you make any changes in here, those are going to automatically reflect as well. So don't worry about having to come back and redo anything. It's just going to automatically populate there. So that would cover the marketing profile. Again, that's probably the first thing I would start with, even if I'm going into Command for the first time. Like any sort of program or any sort of website, I always like to fill out my profile information first. That way, as I kind of move forward through the system, I don't have to worry about it later. So that's just my, my little tip there. So let's just go back home. We're going to go to the home screen again. I like to just start from the very beginning when we're doing anything. So we're on the home screen here. We just logged in. Now, if I want to get into my consumer experience, if I want to edit my website or even build out my website now, what I can do, I'm going to click on this red KW button. And the slide out menu, you'll notice is going to slide out here. Very convenient, so you know what all those things are. Consumer is the one we want to go into. So I'm going to go ahead and click on consumer. And what's going to happen is it's going to take me to this little, you can call it like a dashboard, whatever. And this dashboard here is going to be broken up into 3 sections, or 4 rather, because this one's also here. Landing pages, agent sites, pages, and guide builder. And I'm going to explain these 2, but let me first go over this one real quick. The landing pages are going to be things like your single property sites. There'll be things that are, you know, open house sign-in sheets. It can be neighborhood statistic pages, a page about yourself, etc. These pages aren't going to be connected with your agent site. These are completely separate. And you'll notice here that I do have links to all the ones I've created. Those are going to be things that you can use if you're creating like marketing campaigns, such as Facebook ads. You can use a landing page to bring somebody to a listing site. Very useful. We're not going to be working too much with these today, but if anybody had questions around that, feel free to ask me later, and I can go over that with you in a little bit more detail. But we're going to be focused mainly on agent site pages and the guide builder. So one thing that's really great about Command currently is if I go to Site and App Settings, under Site and App Settings, you'll notice that I have access to a few different tabs here. General, URLs, feature listings, theme, and site pages. So just to go back to general real quickly, this is the main site page. This will give you access to things like the hero text on the front of the page, those slideshow images that appear in the background, even things like my landing page for my consumer app. And then you can also add virtual tours. But before we can even go ahead and do that, we want to actually build the site out first. So let's do that. Now, if I'm logging into Command for the first time, I haven't used it yet, but I want to make sure I have at least my agent site built. You can do that very easily by going to here where it says Learn More with Kelly Guides. And if we go to Learn More with Kelly Guides, it's going to give you 2 pop-ups. You literally only have 2 options. What do you want to build? Agent site or consumer settings? Now, if I hit agent site and hit continue, it's going to bring me to what they call a Kelly guide. I like to just think of it as like a wizard. So think of it as just like a guided tour, basically. It's really hard to mess up because it's going to walk you through all the steps directly. So this is the Kelly guide for the agent sites, and this is going to help me build out my agent site. It gives you a little overview with these nice little illustrations here, what you're going to be doing, choosing my subdomain, theming and styling, and then page creation. So we're going to build out a few pages as well. Now, if we hit get started, it's going to bring me to a pop-up box here, which is a compliance reminder. Now, the compliance reminder is just there to let you know, like, okay, there's certain things that you have to just make sure are there. Market Center logo, ownership statement, compliance with local boards, commissions, and laws, etc. So I'm going to hit acknowledge and continue. Now, the first screen here, you'll notice it's only literally 3 steps rather. The first step is going to be choosing my subdomain. So what is a subdomain? A subdomain is basically how you see here. And the subdomain is this little blue bit here. So the most common is going to probably be your initial last name.kw.com. I've seen numerous other types of subdomains, but you can change that here. So you already have one that's kind of like pre-approved for you. Typically it's your name and last name, but you can change that to whatever you want as long as it's available. Now, here are some things you also want to make sure. It can only be 30 characters in length. Can't have spaces. You can't have special characters. And if you're changing your subdomain, the previous one will be released and then somebody else can claim it. I'm sure nobody's going to be worried about taking your name at some point. So don't worry about that unless you have something super broad, which anybody can take. So my subdomain here is just my initial last name.kw.com. A question I get quite frequently is if you can use a custom domain. So for example, I bought one from GoDaddy. Yes, you can do that. However, you can only use it as a forward. So basically what that means is if I go to chrisgareffa.com, it's just going to forward it over to cgareffa.kw.com. But you could do it for sure. All right, so we chose our subdomain. That's the first step. Now, marketing profile information. If you recall, the first thing I did before I got started was I filled out that information. And the benefit of that is that this is actually already filled out for me. So by default, we already completed the first step in like 2 seconds. Now you could obviously go in here and you can edit things if you wanted, but the benefit is that it's already filled out for you because you did it before. So I like that a lot. All right, and you do get a little preview as well on the left-hand side, just kind of showing you what the website looks like as you're building it. This preview might be slightly outdated, but essentially the sites look exactly the same. So let's go ahead and hit save and continue. And if you did it right, you'll see on the top there that little congratulations bar. The only reason why I see you may have a snag is if you're forgetting something in the marketing profile. So just make sure that if you're running into any snag, just double check that marketing profile. Cool. All right. So second step. The second step is going to be basically choosing the style and theming. With the style and theming, basically you only have 2 choices, red or black or dark, whatever you want to call it. I don't think this is actually going to affect anything in regards to how the site looks right now. Because that KW logo would just be replaced with your Market Center logo. So for now, you can choose whichever one you like better. You know, obviously you can kind of switch between. The next thing is going to say homepage text. The homepage text that I put here, you can see it's this middle bar, and it says do your home searches here. And that's all I did. NJ home searches here rather. So that's what I put for my homepage text. Now the hero images is just essentially a background image. I'm not sure what they call them hero images. It's kind of a funny term for it, but in any case, those hero images are going to be rotated between 5, and you can upload 5 different ones. You do get these nice little default ones from KW, but you can change those out if you'd like. All right, so if I'm good to go with that, all I need to do now is hit save and continue. And it's going to say you chose your style and theming. All right, great. Now it gets to the part where we can actually start putting together some of the content pages. Typically when I'm doing this, I will skip this company profile. Unless you want to fill that out. Basically the company profile is just like a miscellaneous page. It can be information about the services you provide. It can be maybe an excerpt of some testimonials. I've seen agents who will put some information about like their team in there. Or it can be even some information about the office, for example. So there's quite a few things you can put in there. I like to just kind of skip over this page for now because you can always come back to it. But in any case, if I wanted to go ahead and start filling this out, I'm gonna minimize the search engine optimization tab. And there's a tab here called content. And under content here, you'll notice that you can edit these fields on the right-hand side. And each one of these fields will be auto-populated as I do this. So I can say like, this is a page about my business. And as I'm doing that, you'll notice that this will update automatically. I can say for page header, my business and services, something like that, right? Now header image is going to be this one here, which is essentially the background image. You can change that as well. If I go down here, you'll notice that there is a headline number 1, headline number 2, and then you also have a footer as well, which you can also add. Now to update any of this stuff, it's just the same process. I can just say home staging, something like that, right? We provide complimentary, something like that, you know, just something kind of thinking off the top of my head. And I can be like professional photography. So you kind of get the idea of how it works. It's all essentially filling out this form, and then the form will auto-populate to the page. So then what I can do here now is if I scroll down and I hit continue, the next thing it's going to ask me to do is go through my About Me, which is basically like my bio page. Now you're probably wondering what these other 2 tabs are. Let me just go over those real quickly. Navigation, this can be where I can actually, you know, I can drag and drop this where it should be on my, my website. And I'm going to show you my website in a few minutes after we complete this, just so you can see what it looks like. The next thing over here is called search engine optimization, or SEO. SEO is essentially how you can index your site on Google. And the way that Google works, if you're not familiar, or, you know, it's something that's quite it's a bit of a concept. But basically with search engine optimization, the more keywords you have inside of your website, the higher up that Google ranks your site. So basically what I'm saying is like I'm using these SEO descriptions with the keywords like Keller Williams and real estate specialist. You know, I have luxury listings, Bergen County. These are all different keywords here. These are just different keywords and phrases that Google picks up and it indexes it based on the amount of hits that you have. So again, you can do these for every page that you create. It's just a way to kind of, again, keep your site being updated on Google search results and thus bringing your site up higher in the ranking. It does take a little while to do, and SEO is a very, very, it's a very time-consuming thing to do. But I think what KW did specifically for the SEO is made it very streamlined. So you don't have to add as much as you think. It's just basically making like a short description. But again, you can do this for every page that you have. So I'm going to close that. And again, with the content, it's basically the same thing we went through with the other page. Just now it's going through my About Me. But now it's actually pulling in information from my marketing profile. So my bio, my title. You'll also notice that it has my contact information auto-populated. So a lot of this is already going to be there for you. It's just kind of like going through and double checking it. The last thing we can set up here is a contact me page, which is basically like a lead capture form. This lead capture form is going to appear basically everywhere on your website, but this is like its own standalone page. And one thing I also like about this is that you can set it up kind of like for different themes. So you can say like, oh, like home valuation, something like that. You can set up multiple contact pages for different types of topics. So it can be like, what's your home worth? You know, contact me for a free complimentary listing presentation or something. So this can be a way where it's a little bit flexible on how you can present it. That's what I also like about this. But generally it's a contact form and anybody can fill this out and that information will then be transferred into your command database, which is great. Cool, so let's go ahead and now if we hit save and continue, and I'm not gonna do that because it's gonna save this onto my site, but let's pretend we did save and continue. What's gonna happen is it's gonna bring you to an additional fourth screen, and then we can close out of this now. So what we just did was we built out a very simplified agent site, basically to get the ground running. So let me just show you what it looks like once you have it actually put together. And while it's loading, I think I saw a question in chat. Andrea saying, I'm not able to get in. I have no idea what's happening after, okay. Yeah, Andrea, if you want to just shoot me an email after this. Yeah, I'm not sure what's happening with yours as well.
Chris,
but yeah, this is going to be recorded.
Chris, is it easy to add additional pages to the site?
It is, yeah. I'm going to show that next. So I just wanted to quickly go over like what the site looks like. So basically, once you have the site created, it's going to look something like this. Let me just log out of this real quick so you can see from like the unsigned in point of view. So it's going to look something like this. Now, if you recall before when I was mentioning with my marketing profile, I set it up with this as the team name, just because when somebody sees that, they'll just see my name and what market center I'm with right away. This drop down here is going to have those pages we've created. Now, I do have quite a few other ones, so I'm going to show you how I did that. Now, as far as like the functionality of the site goes, the listing search is already created. So the IDX feeds are already in there. You don't have to set up anything additionally. Those are already set up for you. So you can literally do a home search anywhere. It's great. And it works very well. So that's also like a huge value add to your clients. You don't have to worry about, you know, signing up for a million different IDX feeds. They're already there for you. And just to go back to the home screen again, it is like a fairly, like a very clean, very nicely laid out site. There's nothing like too intrusive to me. Basically, as if I'm a client coming into here, the first thing I'm going to be able to do is go and do a home search, basically like how Zillow works. So think of it as almost like they were trying to replicate that similar experience. Contact form, market center information, and then some links to my social media accounts already there. Okay, so let me close this. Now, the question I just got was how can you create new pages for your agent site? So that's a great question. And it's very simple to do. If we go to create a new site here, you have two options available, so you literally can't mess this up. You have on my agent's site or as a standalone page. The difference between those two is that the one for your agent's site is going to go into your agent site. Standalone page is going to be just a landing page that would be separated from your website. So it's not part of your website. However, it is part of your command database. So any sort of information like leads captured will be directly fed into your command database. I saw a question pop up in chat here. Consumer doesn't need to sign in, just search. Well, the consumer would need to sign in if they wanted to do something like a save search, or if they wanted to save a property that they liked, or get in touch with you. So like those things, like if they're going to request like a showing, for example, they do have to have an account created. And there's one of two ways they can do that. They can do it from either your agent site, or if you send them your consumer app, they can sign up directly under you through your consumer app. That's the next thing I'm going to go through. So let's go ahead and just build out a quick page on my agent site, right? I'm going to click on that. We're going to hit create page. And if you're familiar with the way that the landing pages are created, the functionality is almost exactly the same. So let's say, for example, I want to create a page where people can leave reviews. So I'm going to say something like leave a review. Now, this blank sheet of paper here in the middle, that's just called the body. On the right-hand side here, you'll notice that there's some widgets. And the widgets right now are fairly basic. You know, you have your team widget to go over your team profile, agent profile, which is like my bio page, contact form. You have a testimonial, carousel, and list view, basically displaying all those testimonials that are captured. A question that I get often is, can the testimonials be integrated from a site like Zillow or Google Reviews? Currently, they can't. However, what I could suggest is that you create a testimonial capture page. One thing you can do is you can fill out that information on behalf of your client. So basically, you would just copy and paste the information in. The second way you can do it is just request that they fill out a testimonial on your agent's site, which if it's a newer client, it would probably just be easier that way. But in this case, we're creating a review page, and I'm going to show you how you can configure this now. Let me delete this so you see what I did again. So this is the body, right? We're going to go ahead and go to testimonial capture form, and we're just going to drag that into the body here. And you'll notice that that little green bar appears. That means that we're about to drag it in. Now I can drag things below this. I can drag things above this. If I'm only going to be creating a page for just my reviews, I'm not going to drag in anything else. So this is good to go. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go where it says configure widgets. And then, ooh, what happened there? Here we go. It's going to ask me for a team name. I'm just going to put my name there, what the headline is. We'll just put leave a review. Description text. Now, the description text is also auto-populated here. You could change that if you'd like. You'll notice here that's what it looks like here. You have here review headline text, and then you have here another placeholder text as well. Those things I'm going to leave in. I'm just going to go ahead now and hit save and apply. And you'll notice what happens once this loads, which it didn't currently. Let's see what happened there. Typically what would happen is that would auto change onto this template here. It looks like I'm having a little bit of an issue. And then I would then have to go back and then add that page to my website. So let's pretend that this got added. We're just going to close out of this now. So for me to add that site page to my website, we just go to Site and App Settings. And we're going to go to here where it says Site Pages. And under Site Pages here, I have a menu. This is all the different pages I have on my website currently. And what I can do from here is I can go to Add a Page, and I can say, let's see if I have the testimonial. Here we go. We'll do a testimonial capture. We'll hit Continue. And then what we're going to do now is we're going to call this page leave a review. And then we'll put leave a review here. And then we can also add SEO text like reviews for my real estate business. Something like that. We're going to hit save pages. That's going to change that now. I should have it on my website. Let's just double check. All right, so if we go to here on the drop-down menu, you're going to notice I have something here called leave a review. And here's the review page, as you can see. Now what can happen is a person can come into this page, they can leave a review about me, and they can say like what property that we worked on. We'll say something like that. We go to client since 2013 perhaps. What's their review score? You can do it out of 5 stars. Leave the review. And then would you recommend this person? And you can say yes or no. Once they preview it, that will just give them like a little update of what it's going to look like. And then once they submit that, it's going to go directly onto your website, which will appear here under reviews. I think my site's just a little bit wonky right now, but if I had a testimonial page set up, all those reviews would appear there automatically. It's pretty cool. So I hope that explains within regards to how you can create new pages. Now, one other thing I want to show, because I'm in the settings right now, is the ability to create feature listings. So this was something that was highly requested from agents, having the ability to add in feature listings on the main page of their website. So if you go on my site here, right now I don't have them. I believe these are all off market. Let's remove those. We're going to use some newer ones here. If I go to select listings, you'll notice I can search by my listings. I can also go under all listings, which would then show me all the listings in the MLS currently. And I'm just going to use my favorite building, the Galaxy. And we're just going to select that as one of my feature listings here. We'll hit done. We'll save that. And I should have a new one up there now. Let's double check. Where's my feature listings? Okay, so it's a little bit wonky right now. I apologize for that. Let's try that once more. But the idea is that I can go in here, I can search for a listing, and then I can go ahead and then add it to my website as a feature listing. Done, save changes, should work now. And there you go. So I have one feature listing now. And then you can click on it. It's going to have all the information about the listing, like the photos. And again, this is going to be pulling in from all the MLSs. So basically, if it's a listing on the MLS currently, it'll definitely be in here. Very good. So I just wanted to show that real quickly as well. Now, the other functionality in here that you can customize is the consumer app guides. So if you're under the consumer app and you're logged in, there's a section called guides, and there's 2 different types of guides currently. If you go to guide builder here, you're going to see them. You have a buying guide and you also have a selling guide. There's 2 ways that you can edit these. You can do it through the Kelly guide, which is under here as well. We'll just do that for now. And this is going to walk you through the guides. It's going to say what can you expect to get out of this guide, setting up your consumer app, customizing your guides, and then also setting up a smart plan, which is also very useful. And the smart plan is going to help you market your consumer app. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, well, he gets started. We'll hit next. So the first thing it's going to ask me to do is just customize my app download landing page. Really isn't too much to customize currently, and I don't believe this hero text appears. So it's just going to be something very generic right now. App URL already available. I believe the text codes don't work anymore. So the app link would still work. All right, and then we have feature listings, which we can also add in on here as well, you'll notice. So you can do that here if you wanted to do that. We'll hit save and continue again. Okay, so step 3. So step 2 literally was just those 2 things. Step 3 is going to be where you can set up those guides. So if we go to setup, it's going to ask me which template do I want to select. I can say, let's say as an example, we're going to do the buyer guide. We're going to hit next. And then you have your first page here, which is the timeline, your timeline guide, congratulations, all that stuff is going to be auto-populated. You can change that out if you like. We'll hit next. So this is your guide. So basically here you have your steps. What can I afford? Start your home search, get pre-approved, tour homes. And then you can see as I kind of move through here, there's going to be quite a few of them. A lot of these are going to be already there for you. You'll notice that there's probably a couple that I've added. One being this home insurance, the CHA home insurance one. I've also added one here for the claim history report. And then one other one that I've also added was the one up here. You'll see, what can I afford? So within the last month, I would believe, it's probably like last month or maybe the month before that, they added in this really cool affordability calculator, which is just auto-populated for you. So how did I do this? How did I build these out? Well, if I go down to the bottom, you'll notice here that there's an action step here that I can say add guide step. And from here, what I can do is I can select, I can put a name on there. I can put a title, a subtitle. You do have to have an image. So you do have to have some sort of image. You can get like a copyright free one from some websites have them. Basically, you don't have to pay for those. Designs also has some as well. Now, if I wanted to add that step, all I would need to do now is just complete those and then we're good to go. I can also delete this. One reason why I don't typically do it through here, but I wanted to show it is just because it's a lot easier to go through the guide. But I'm going to show you the other way that you can also add in steps that I think might also be easier. So let's go ahead and just hit next. We're going to add another buy guide here. We're going to do the seller guide. We'll hit next again. Same sort of process as you'll notice. This one has a few different steps, but we're going to hit next. We're going to go ahead and hit next again. And then the last thing it's going to ask me to do is if I want to set up a smart plan, which is basically how I promote my consumer app. So in this case, it's going to be an email, which I can add people to. And there's a few other text messages in here as well. So if you have Twilio set up for automated texting, those will go out automatically. Otherwise, you can always send those manually. Now, for me to add people to this, there's a button here where I can add people. And I can say, like, I want to add these people to the neighborhood or the consumer app email. You would hit add the smart plan, and then you'd be good to go. And then that email is going to automatically send. And that's already set up for you. You don't have to worry about that. We'll hit next again. And then it's basically saying your app is good to go. Now, the one other way that you can edit those guide steps, we're going to just go back to my consumer here. And we're going to go to Guide Builder. And under Guide Builder, if I click on this one as an example, you can see here, you can also edit or add stages here. You can also rearrange them. There's a little menu here that you can drag and drop. If I wanted to add a new step, I can go to add a step. And there's two different things you'll notice here. Create a custom step or select a default step. The default step is basically going to be a, what it looks like it doesn't have it right now. Basically, the default step would be something like the affordability calculator, which I don't see here. That's really weird. But basically, you should have an option there for the affordability calculator. And then I can create that as a step, which would then be here. All right. So we're just going to close that out. Now for me to save any changes, I can go up to the top, hit save changes, and then that's good to go. So there's one other thing I wanted to go over with in regards to both the app and the agent site is the ability to set up save searches and email notifications, which I find to be incredibly useful. I've been doing these for like the past couple of weeks, just testing them. I get them every day now with all updates. So how do you do that? We're going to go into the home screen again. And we're going to go under contacts. So under contacts, I'm going to use myself as an example here. So you'll notice that I was updated last 18 minutes ago. That means that I would have been sent some sort of email, or I was on the website at some point today, in this case, 18 minutes ago. Now, if we go under the name, you're going to notice here that I have my timeline, opportunities, smart plans, notes, and then one other thing you'll notice here now is save searches. And under save searches, you're going to notice that I have quite a few. Some of them set up by the consumer, some of them set up by myself as an agent. Now, the one thing that they've added that was quite useful was the ability for the agent to do a save search on behalf of the client. So for example, let's go ahead and do a new save search. Let's say I know that they're going to be looking in, we'll say find a map. Actually, let's go by zip code here. We're going to do 07670. Oops. That's okay. 07670. All right. So that's going to be for Tenafly. Now you can put in a price minimum max. Let's say it's going to be a little here. We'll just do something like this. All right. You can also add keyword searches. So if you want to send them properties with a specific type of amenity, like a pool, or it could be something like a deck, those would be added as keywords that it will search through the verbiage of the listing. Property types, you do have quite a few of those as well. I'm just going to rearrange some of these here. I'm not going to do all of them. All right, I think that's fine. You can choose a for sale. You can also do rental listings as well. And right now within this part of it, you can't select that yet. Bed and baths, we're going to just select some of those as well. Year built, living area, which is the square footage. And then you also notice here you have a few additional options: has parking, open houses only, reduced in price within the last 7 days. One thing I also like about the email notifications is that it does send you updates over the weekend for open houses happening, and that's going to be automatic as well. Super useful. So let's go ahead and hit next. Here's the save search title. We're going to say, we'll say Tenafly search. Here's the primary email address. If this had to be changed, it's going to say edit this email, then edit the contact. So that's how you would edit this primary email address. Here's where it gets fun. We're going to say send email notifications. Then it's going to ask me what the frequency is. Do I want to send it instantly? Do I want to send it daily? Do I want to send it weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly? Now, if it's going to be somebody who you're currently working with who would want those updates essentially as soon as they happen, you can do instant, and then they will receive those emails pretty much as soon as something comes on. And I know this works because I get them all the time. Now, for me to create that save search, all I got to do is hit create save search, and I am now going to receive updates anytime something within that criteria comes on the market. That's something you can set up right now. You don't need to do anything additional. I would highly recommend having the site at least set up a bit like we just went over, at least going through the marketing profile and then branding it. But you see, it was very simple for me to do. I went through the contact card, I went to save searches, and then what I did was I went to create save search, and now they're going to receive those updates. I probably already got an email for it. So I am starting to wrap up here. Does anybody have any questions before we finish up? All right.
I just have a quick question. So you said you will be posting this on YouTube soon?
Yeah, I will.
And if I need to search something like this on our Bergen County partner page, what exactly should I search for?
What I would suggest doing, and I find this to probably be easier as well, if I go under Facebook, and if I go under the Bergen County Partners group here, if you go under where it says media, and you go to videos, you'll notice that all the videos that we've had posted are going to be kind of like in this order here. Additionally, what you can also do is you can go here where there's that little search button, and you can say something like consumer experience, because that was the name of the class. And then it's going to give you all the videos here you see. And I've done this class quite a few times, so that's why you'll probably see it again. But yeah, this is the newest one here. It appears right away.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
In addition to that, I do post that to YouTube. So I also like to show the YouTube channel real quickly. Let's go ahead and switch accounts to the YouTube. So this is the YouTube. It's just called Bergen County Partners, very straightforward. And the video is going to be posted here probably later today, if not tomorrow morning. And you'll notice here we have quite a lot of videos now, a lot of content. You know, Hal's been posting up his classes. I post up my sessions as well. So you'll see a lot of my sessions on here. Or Elise, she'll have those posted in here as well. But yeah, any of those classes that you see on the calendar typically get posted back into here like right away. So always keep an eye out on it. If you haven't already subscribed, just go ahead and subscribe to it as well. Super useful. And yeah, I guess that would kind of wrap things up. If anybody had any additional questions, you can always feel free to reach out to me via email or text. It's all good. And I hope everybody enjoys the rest of their Wednesday.
Thank you.
And thanks for coming here. Take care.